I'm going to go off the radar here a little bit, and we'll get back to the big games. But what we're witnessing at the running back position in some places across the country is absolutely special. And I want to remind people, last year, right? Last April, this year, but last April, there were 26 running backs that were drafted in the NFL. What does that mean, Todd? It was one of the best groups we've seen in almost 12 years. There were a whole bunch of them, 20 in fact, drafted in the top 200. That was the second most, 26 running backs drafted was the second most that we've seen in the last 12 years. So only one other time there were more. It was 30 in 2017. Names like Genty, Omarion, Judkins, Henderson, Scadaboo, Harvey, ETN, and beyond, all gone. So the natural question was coming into this year in college football, are we going to see a massive dip at the running back position? Where's all the talent at running back? There's no way we can have the same level. But I'm watching this past Saturday as we get into this time of year, right? Weather's changing. It's colder. We're starting to see precipitation, winds picking up. Especially in certain areas of the country, you've got to lean on the run game. And I saw a handful. I will focus on three and mention a fourth, but there were a handful of places in the country this past week where the running game and specific running backs absolutely took over the game. Let's start with Notre Dame at Pitt. Game day's there, all the hype. Narduzzi and the defensive side of the ball, and they played their quarters, and you can get matchups in the passing game, your slot receiver against their safeties, and typically Pitt does a good job versus the run. Excuse me. Jeremiyah Love just did Jeremiyah Love things. And I can't do a whole section, a whole tape truth on the running back position without mentioning Love. We've talked a lot about him. And the thing that I'm excited about, all three of these guys that I'm going to feature, we actually got on it early. Everyone was on Jeremiyah Love early, but the next two guys are guys that we got on as they were kind of just breaking out and what's to come. And we were telling you these guys are workhorses, and these guys are going to carry their teams late in the season when the weather changes and when they need them. And Love, it's no different. They still have Jadarian Price. I got news for you, folks. He might be a first-round pick. If he's not first, he's going to be second round. But Love has emerged as someone that I view, I'm starting to put him in like the Bijan level. And I'll be the first to admit, I knew he was the best back in the country coming into the year. Everyone did. So no congratulations to me or Steve or anyone else. But I didn't know that he was going to be at like that Genty, Bijan, elite running back level. He's corrected me. His combination of size and like ballerina feet. I know that's something that a football player does, but like if you watch, I call him like poetry in motion. He is so smooth. We saw everyone watch that highlight reel, the spin move that he had, but it's more than that. It's how smooth he is with his feet. And then when he sees a crease, that level of acceleration that he has that most big backs just don't possess. And he's catching the ball well. Only 2 catches for 20 yards in this game. We finished with 23 carries, 147 yards, and a touchdown. I want you to go back to the beginning of the year. Oh, by the way, his pass protection, I just watched a reel yesterday. He's improved there too. So, like, what doesn't he have as a pro prospect? And also, what doesn't he have now as Notre Dame's getting in this stretch run? Heavily favored the last 2 games. No conference championship game. In fact, I'm urging Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame, let's not forget what happened last year. Let's not try to get Jeremiyah Love to New York. He's already done enough to get to New York. And if he doesn't get there, he doesn't get there. This is about the college football playoff. This is about having Jeremiyah Love healthy. Look at the run that Notre Dame made last year in the college football playoff. And they did it with all intents and purposes without Jeremiyah Love. He was not healthy. He tried to gut through it, but he just wasn't the same back. Imagine this team, the improvement we've seen going into the playoff with a fully healthy Jeremiyah Love and Jadarian Price. and some of those receivers that I've talked about stepping up. So to me, it's about now kind of easing up the workload on Jeremiyah Love the next couple of weeks and getting him ready for the college football playoff, because there's plenty of time between now and that first game. And I look at the size of him, the versatility that he has. Now he's protecting better. Now he's catching the ball really well. The sweet feet that he has and the acceleration, the contact balance that he has to continue runs after contact. After two games, he had 33 carries for 127 yards and a touchdown. Those two games were losses to Miami and A&M. Since those first two games, and the big question, it wasn't necessarily the A&M game, because he had a decent amount of touches in that game and almost reached 100 yards. It was really the Miami game, but combine those two, and it wasn't the workload you would think for the best back in college football, and maybe one of the best 5-6 backs we've seen come out in the NFL draft in the last decade. He has had 144 carries for 1,008 yards and 13 touchdowns in the last 8 games. He's third nationally, despite those first two games, third nationally with 113.5 rush yards per game. If he doesn't get to New York, what the hell are we doing? And I have a Heisman vote, so I'll do my part. But as I mentioned, he's given me Bijan vibes, man. I'm not saying they're the exact comp of the two, but the size, the ability to contribute in the pass game, the acceleration, and every time he touches the ball, you have to take a deep breath. I think this Notre Dame team is going to be scary if he's 100%, and it looks like we're tracking towards that when we get to the college football playoff, and I'm excited to see it. All right, next up, Ahmad Hardy, Missouri. I know we're going on a long roll here, but that's okay. Mensch is in here. We'll get to Bruce in a little bit. Ahmad Hardy, we talked about before, 5'10", 215 pounds. He was a transfer from Louisiana Monroe. And he came in this year. He won the starting job after just 1 year. He was a freshman All-American at Louisiana Monroe. Transfers in. He's like, yeah, SEC, no problem. I got this. Let's go, coach. And he has been the best, most productive back in college football this year. SEC defenses, yeah. I did it at Louisiana Monroe. I'll do it here. This past week, he was absolutely dynamic, devastating. Best individual performance I've seen from a running back all year long was Ahmad Hardy for Missouri this past week against Mississippi State. Completely took the game over. This guy was a battering ram on Saturday. 25 carries, 300 rushing yards, and 3 touchdowns, and that win over Mississippi State. His combination, I'll just sum it up real quickly. It's a confidence and a vision. This patience and kind of waiting for his spot. And then he's got this unique, like whether it's lateral or first 3 steps going vertical, explosion for a back who's probably a 4.55 guy in the 40-yard dash. And then you watch him at the end of runs. It's like zombie hunting if you're a defender trying to get this guy down. You think you've killed him, and he just keeps going. 3, 4, 5, 7 yards at the end of carries. He leads the nation, Hardy does, with 1,346 rush yards, 134 per game, and third nationally with 15 rushing touchdowns. He's been absolutely special. We'll talk about him in 2027 for the NFL draft, but this year, I'm just talking about him as one of the most dynamic running backs in all of college football. Finally, Kiwan Lacy, another back that just took things over when its team needed him the most. And another back in the SEC, just like Hardy. Kiwan Lacy, we talked about a couple weeks ago, right? He's become the best asset for the defense for Ole Miss and for a pedestrian defense for Ole Miss. And this is a team that's marching towards the college football playoff. And Lane Kiffin has identified that. Lane Kiffin grew up the son of Monty Kiffin and the Tampa 2, the godfather of that, and great defensive mind. But he knows, as the son of Monty Kiffin, you've got to be strong in the run game. No matter what he's done in the past, zone read option, West Coast principles, tempo, not tempo, all of the different variations we've seen of Lane. The only thing that's always stayed the same with Lane, we will run the football. And this year with Trinidad Chambliss, who's not Jackson Dart, but has played at a really high level considering coming from the Division II level, first-year starter in the SEC, they've had to lean on the run game even more so. And Lacy, after being kind of nicked up and in and out, Lacy has found his groove. And we talked about it a few weeks ago. This guy's going to be the most important individual player for Ole Miss down the stretch. What does he do against Florida? And this was a grind. They were trailing in the fourth quarter. Then they had a 3-point lead in the fourth quarter. It looks like, oh, they beat Florida by 10. That was a real late touchdown to make it a 10-point game. This game was tight. This game was scary for Ole Miss. Lacy finishes with 33 offensive touches, 239 yards, 3 touchdowns in a game that Chambliss was kind of up and down and couldn't be counted on to play at the level that he has played at certain times this year. And this guy's doing it with this downhill run style, contact balance, initial burst, unbelievable instincts as a back. It allows him to anticipate and kind of weave through. And guys bouncing off of him. You don't get clean hits on this guy. It's been really fun to watch. And he's protecting the ball. I think he always has 1 fumble this season, despite all these touches. And that's critical too. I want to throw in a 4th name for the running backs, Katron Allen. He got in the action. 28-10 for Penn State. I know everyone's kind of over talking about Penn State. They had the 2 big games, almost, close with Ohio State for a half, and then almost knocked off Indiana. So, all right, Penn State's out of sight, out of mind. They beat Michigan State 28-10. He had 25 carries for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's that time of year, folks. Running backs play a critical part. We've talked about receivers and quarterbacks and defenses and everything else. You watch how important these running backs are now as we get to the end of the regular season, the championship games, and the college football playoff. And those are 4 really special guys doing it, but they're not the only ones.